What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be filming part 2 of my vinyl collection. You guys seem to really have liked the first video that I made, so I'm just doing a follow-up video to that. I'm trying to space out these videos because I don't have the biggest collection in the world, and I want you guys to have content and have more of these videos to watch. So I'm kind of doing less vinyls in these videos. I'm going to try and do more of them, more of these collection videos. But yeah, I'll just dive right into this. Here's part 2 of my vinyl collection. So the first vinyl I have today is a classic. It is Nas Illmatic. This is one of the most praised hip hop albums of all time. It really deserves that, to be honest. Even though I wasn't born when this album came out, it is really, really good. I could tell that it inspired rap music heavily. I'm into like classic rap too, old school hip hop. And I know a lot of guys were inspired by this album because before 1994, no one was flowing like Nas. Like Nas was the first to flow like Nas on this project. He changed the flow of rap. He changed lyricism, how things are explained by this album. And he was so young when he did it. It's a really cool perspective from a kid from New York. It's really quick too, it's really short, but it's concise to the point, and I think that's why it makes it so good too. There's not a song that misses on it. But like Jay-Z, Drake, all those new guys are also inspired by Nas heavily and really praise this album too. And yeah, it's just like a standard packaging. The inside has like a sleeve to it, so you got Nas right there. Young Nas. And then we got more pictures of Nas. Wow, that's crazy. That reminds me of that Mac Miller photo that he posted right before he died. Illuminati. But no. So that's the picture up top too. It's like him and his homies from New York. And yeah, it's just black vinyl. But yeah. Gotta have this in the collection if you're a rap fan. Gotta listen to this if you're a rap fan. I always made it a responsibility of mine to go back and listen to classic hip hop. It's like the biggest era of when hip hop bursted onto the scene and became what it was. It was due to the 90s. So like guys like Biggie, Tupac, Big L, Nas, just all those guys. They're so fun to listen to because you realize all the inspiration that other artists get from them when listening to the old projects. But yeah, I really like this. It's just straight rap. It's great. Next up, we have My Baby. J. Cole signed KOD vinyl. I did not order this when he put it up on his website, so I paid a little more money for this. But it's also great because I didn't have the frustration of not getting the vinyl in the mail that I know a lot of people have. So before you guys leave comments in the video saying, how did you get yours? I didn't get mine. I bought this off of somebody who already received it. But yeah, it's super cool. It's got the signature right there. The artwork on this album's insane. It's a bunch of kids on drugs. This was one of my favorite albums of, I think it was 2018. Because the concepts are so good on it, and it's like so underrated, this project. People like kind of like shit on it a little bit. And I don't really know why. I think J. Cole's message is concise to the point, and it's also ironic yet really telling. And the album artwork kind of just shows everything you need to know. If you guys didn't know about the different meanings of KOD, so J. Cole basically stated that there's 3, I think, different meanings of KOD. So it's King of Death, King Overdose, and Kids on Drugs. So those are the 3 meanings that I know of. And that's kind of all portrayed in the album artwork. So you have the King of Death. His eyes are kind of white, rolled into the back of his head as if he's dead or as if he's shooting up and getting really high. It's also King Overdose. And you also have Kids on Drugs. So yeah, you guys could see that a little more. That's the gatefold. It's really, really cool on the inside. You have a kid in a pill bottle. You have a piñata bursting open with drugs instead of candy. And yeah, it's really creative. My favorite thing about this album is that J. Cole kind of talks from the perspective of other people and kind of from mainstream views on drugs. So like all these rappers who talk about drugs, doing lean, codeine, all this stuff, trying to make it cool. He kind of takes on that persona and that flow, and the beat production all kind of reminds me of the new hip hop scene where it's like the Lil Whatever's doing, you know, having these like trap beats, whatever. I think that's what he was going for on this, was to make it sound like that drug rap that's popular right now, which is really cool. So inside you have the special vinyl, so you know that this is real. And this thing is sick. Smoky red KOD vinyl. I never play this. I have this framed in a glass frame most of the time, so I took this out for like the second time ever to do this video. Kind of something that I want to keep in mint condition because I know it'll go up in price. So my favorite songs off of KOD have to be KOD, ATM, Motivate, 1985, Intro to the Fall Off, and Photograph's pretty good too. Yeah, those are all my favorite songs off of this. Super underrated project. People don't really appreciate it enough. I love it. Glad I have it signed, and it's really dope. All right, so the next vinyl that I have is Camp by Childish Gambino. I love this album. It reminds me of high school a lot. It doesn't get a lot of love in hip hop. A lot of people don't like this album as well, but I love this thing. I think it's got aspects and components to it that show Gambino's genius, while also still being like really immature. He was kind of figuring out who he was as an artist when this album was made. The production's pretty good, but it could have been better. There were moments of amazing production, amazing lyricism, amazing flow, and then there's also moments on this album where it shows that he needs to improve a little bit. But at the time, this thing was sick, and it was way different than anything else that I've heard. I know that this is about a boy who goes off to camp to discover himself, and he talks a lot about, you know, things that, you know, he might have been going through while he was growing up, issues that he had to deal with at a young age, you know, thoughts in his head that are normal for a young kid at the time. And this album flows into Because of the Internet. The storyline continues into that album. So it's really cool to have this in my collection. You got the standard cover. This photo always made me feel like he took this off of like Google Pics. Like it looks so like, I don't know. It's not the best artwork, but it's pretty cool, I guess. But the rest of the vinyl is really cool. So you open it up and you have a lot of pictures. You got Gambino in the middle. Look how young he looks there, dude. You got Gambino there. You got him walking away into the forest there. You got him running right here. And then there's more to this album too. 1 second. Also have this cool little photo booklet that he gives you. And there's just a bunch of photos in it. So open it up. You have a deer. You have what seems to be the knot that he hung himself with in Bonfire video, I believe. And then you have some more pictures. You got a little chipmunk there. I don't know what that writing is. I never really took my time to read that, but I'm sure there's like a hidden meaning in there. And then some more pictures. There's a lot of hidden concepts behind this album too. I realized that Gambino seems like he's not that deep in his songs, but he actually is very, very deep. And you might not find the answers to his music like right away, but the more you listen to it, you start uncovering different meanings in songs. And that's why I love him so much. He's a really creative dude. My favorite songs off of this album are Outside, Bonfire, All the Shine, Heartbeat, LES, Hold You Down, and That Power. Really good album. Love this, bump it all the time. It's really nostalgic. I remember watching that Bonfire music video and thinking it was the sickest thing ever. He was like throwing up and stuff. Just crazy, man. Crazy thoughts, crazy ideas. I just ordered Because of the Internet on vinyl, so that'll be in my part 3 video. But yeah, had to have this. 14 bucks, super cheap on Amazon. I don't know if it's still cheap, but check it out if you are into that album. Next up, I got a close friend of Childish Gambino's, Jaden Smith's Sire. I found out about this album about a year ago. I was really late on it, but I really like this album. It has one of the coolest introductions to hip hop that I've ever heard, with the blue sequence. I just love how it all just kind of flowed together, and it was like one big album in 4 songs. It was like an EP in 4 songs. And the noises and the production and how the tracks transitioned and the way Jaden sounds on each beat is so crazy to me. Like, this album's boundaries are, you know, it tests the boundaries of rap a lot, while also paying homage to the people that came before Jaden and the people that inspired Jaden. You got a lot of Kid Cudi, Travis Scott, Kanye West, and Drake influence on this album. But I hate when people say that he's copying them, because this album is not a carbon copy of those artists. It is more taking those influences and making it your own. And that's what makes Jaden Smith. Because as an artist, you need to be inspired by others. You need to be inspired by those who were before you. So I don't think that he copied anyone with this album. I think it's super unique. I think it sounds not really like anything I've ever heard. Really cool artwork on this thing. He's laying down in the sunset. He's kind of levitating right here. You know how he does that weird exorcist stuff. It's just standard black vinyl. I really love the concepts behind this album. Sire's just a boy who's lost at sunset, and he's trying to find himself, trying to find out who he is. A lot of weird things of Jaden's mind that I try to unravel when listening to this. I really love Jaden Smith and Childish Gambino for similar reasons, in the sense that I think they're like really abstract thinkers, and some of the stuff they say might sound crazy, but like I'm kind of interested into why they're saying it and what the hell they're trying to mean. So I think that's a big appeal to their music. I'm still to this day trying to figure out the concepts behind both of those artists, behind Jaden and Childish. So yeah, my favorite songs off of this, like I said, Blue is insane, the whole entire thing. Never heard an introduction like that ever on a hip hop album. After that, I would say Breakfast, Hope, 90 is so good. Could play that on repeat for hours. Lost Boy, Icon's obviously the big hit off of this. And I would say George Jeff. Those are my favorite songs. Super cool album. Glad I have it. Got this for $7. So I'm out here balling on a budget, you know. Next up, I have the homie Mac Miller, Best Day Ever. To me, this is not Mac Miller's best work. It's honestly pretty low on his discography, but I loved it when I was younger, and it was, you know, his big mixtape after Kids, and he's just in a good mood on this thing, you know. It's kind of like refreshing. He's in a really good mood. He has some smashes off of this. One of his best songs ever, Best Day Ever, is on this album. But yeah, you have Donald Trump, you have Get Up, you have Wear My Hat, I'll Be There, All Around the World. Love this album. Another childhood memory, nostalgia for sure when I listen to this. This is one of the first vinyls I ever picked up. That's the gatefold. And then I'll show you. The sleeves are black, and it's standard black discs, but there's a cool little feature on one of the discs that I didn't know was there when I bought this, and I was really happy when I saw it. So check this out. On the back, it's really hard to see, but there is Mac Miller's head, like the album cover, on the back of it. There's no tracks on this side, but it's like a cool little artistic touch to the record. And yeah, I have some good memories with my friends, just like hanging out, listening to this album that I'll never get back, and I kind of get it back when I listen to this, so it's pretty great. Needed it in my collection. I have every single Mac Miller vinyl ever, so most of these videos, or all of these videos, will have Mac Miller albums in them. Not all at once though, because I don't want to give it to you all at once. But yeah, really cool. You got the shiny cover right there. And all those songs I just listed before are my favorite songs. Next up, I have one of my favorite music projects of all time, and that's Faces by Mac Miller. This is, in my opinion, the best mixtape ever. I'm a little biased because I'm a huge Mac fan, but this thing is insane. I could talk about this and make a video just about this, but we'll start off with the artwork. Just look at that. Mac Miller's brother made this artwork and the cover and everything for this album, and I spent, a lot of time analyzing this artwork, trying to figure out what it is, what it's telling, and it's super hard to interpret because it's like some Picasso type stuff, but you see some faces in it and things like that, which is pretty cool. And yeah, this is Mac Miller's most introspective, drug-infused, mentally disturbing project that he has ever released. It is his darkest time in his life caught on audio. He had the privilege of making this mixtape without any boundaries or label opinion. He was taking a break between labels at the time that he made this and was trying to figure out who he was signing to. This was right before Warner Brothers. So we got a lot of things that you wouldn't really get, a lot of personal things that you wouldn't get if you were on a label. He created this in a legendary studio called the Red Room. In that studio, he said he locked himself away for hours on hours upon hours and days upon days. He wouldn't sleep, he wouldn't eat, all he would do was create music. And he said, I think he created like 300 songs in like a year or like 2 years, a year and a half, just in this Red Room. He would never go outside, he would never leave his house in California. And he became a really dark person, he's doing a lot of drugs, he was thinking a lot about his life, suicidal, really sad stuff, but also really, really amazing stories and insight into his mind. And although I can't relate to anything in this album, that's, I think, why I love it the most, because it gives me a perspective of somebody else's life like no other album or mixtape or project has ever done for me. This made me really feel like I knew Mac Miller and his demons, and it was so telling of him and how great of an artist he was, because he was able to just put himself onto this project and not care at all what people think about it. Like, he was just, these are my issues, they're nuts. Most people wouldn't talk about them the way I'm talking about them on this. They're blunt, straightforward, but here it is. And wow. Production is insane, all over the place, wacky yet put together. Beautiful. A lot of it was done by him, but there was also other producers on this project as well. And yeah, had to have this. It was just a no-brainer. And I'll show you the discs. So we got first one right there, clear. And then we have the second one, which is really cool. And I don't know if you can tell, I'll put it like up against white so you can see it more. But yeah, yellow. My favorite songs off of this, Inside Outside, Angel Dust, It Just Doesn't Matter, Therapy, Wedding, Funeral, Diablo, Colors and Shapes, Rain, New Faces, and Grand Finale. I mean, if you guys have never watched the Knob Society video on YouTube about Grand Finale with Mac Miller, I highly suggest you watch it. One of the dopest videos out there. And it also shows you the Red Room, what that I was talking about before. If you haven't heard this in general, go listen to it 200 times and then come back and tell me what you think, because damn, this thing's crazy. So next up, I have XXX's album, Question Mark. I really like this album from X. I never really got into him until this album, but it was kind of weird because I never really knew of him until this dropped, and then he died like really soon after this dropped, and I was just getting into his music. He's a very interesting guy. It's kind of like the same thing I was talking about with Faces. Like, I can't relate to any of XXX's music personally, but that's why I love it, because I am not anything like this guy. I think he had a lot of problems mentally, but that's why I love his art and his music, because it gives me a inside look into his life, why he thought the way he thought, how someone could think, how crazy and how different someone could think is just so interesting to me. And this album portrays that a lot to me, of how he was. He was all over the place, you know. The guy was a mess. He was. He had all those allegations against him. He wasn't really liked that much. He was loved by a lot of people, but not liked by the general crowd. But I respect him for his music because he could really put it out on a track, and he could really put his emotions onto an album. And he could do it all too. He's not just a rapper, he's a musician, and I always respect that. He could sing, he could play the piano, he could play the guitar. He was a really talented dude, and it's sad that he passed away because I would have been interested to see what his other projects had in store. I don't like what they did with his music. I think they handled it terribly after his passing. So that's why this is really important to me, because this is his last project that he put together, and it's super good. So yeah, you have X in the cover art all over the place, and then you have this gatefold that's really, really cool with his purple hair. And then you have the insert. It's nothing special. And then it's just on black. I got this for really cheap too. This was like $15 or something. Best songs off of it for me are Moonlight, Sad, A Remedy for a Broken Heart, Infinity with Joey Badass is so good, Changes, Hope, and Before I Close My Eyes. Those are all my favorite songs off of this. And yeah, that's my part 2 of my vinyl collection.